Can you hear that? What? It's a Lancaster. I wonder what it would be like flying in one of those in World War II.
We need to find out more. Hi there, it's Katie from Heighington Primary Academy. We would like to come and find out some more about the Lancaster Bombers and who flew it. Yeah, we train journalists. Okay, thank you. See you then. Bye.
What was the atmosphere like during the war?
Well, Ben, it was very different from what it is today. You know, it was a time when the whole country was being challenged, when we had enemies abroad who would have liked to have taken over everything that we held dear, and everyone pulled together to rise to this challenge. Some of them by what they did at home, quite a lot of them by going into the armed forces. We're here today at a part of Metheringham Airfield, and that was where many of our young men went into Bomber Command because they wanted to take the battle to the enemy.
That must have been a very dangerous thing to do, but why would they do it?
Well, it's hard to put yourself in the situation of those people, Ben, at that time. But they would do it because they wanted to do their bit, because they wanted to help in the struggle. They were fighting for their country. All of these things came into it.
Can you tell us a bit about what life would be like here on RAF Metheringham?
Well, for a start, it wouldn't be very comfortable. Things here were pretty primitive. When the airfield first opened, people were living in huts and tents because not all the buildings were finished. Most of the buildings on the site were considered to be temporary. They weren't expected to last very long. And this meant that they didn't have all the comforts that some people have got used to, you know. It was cold in the winter, it was hot in the summer, everything was tended to be damp. It wasn't very pleasant for them. That would be living on the base. But everything that they needed was being provided here. We're on a site now which was a communal site, and we had a ration store over there. Over in the corner there was the barber shop, there was a squash court just over there, and to our left we have the gymnasium where they would go to do a bit of keep fit, and also where they had church services on Sunday.
Going on a raid must have been terrifying.
Well, it was. I mean, there's no two ways about it, because those people knew, and it's very hard for us to come to terms with today, but those people knew that really their chances of doing their tour of duty, which would have been 30 raids, and still being alive at the end of it, were really quite slim, and many of them didn't come back. They would be shot down, they would be, perhaps they would be killed, perhaps they would be taken prisoner, but many of them didn't come back. Come with me, Katie and Ben, and we'll take you and show you. Here you can see that we have a brick representation of one of the Lancaster's engines. You see the propeller up there? There's just one blade of the 3 blades left. Come into our museum over here. There we are.
Where will all the people live on this RUHR camp?
Well, they were all contained on the camp, but they were spread out. You see, we had people living over here, over there, right into the far corners. We had places where people would be living and staying overnight. And as you can see, the airfield covers a great deal of space. So if you take everything into account, it was like a small town.
I understand, Peter, that you were 5 when the war started and you were here when the base was being built. As a young boy, was it a very exciting time for you?
It was, when all these men and machines came, very exciting indeed, because in those days we hadn't seen machinery like this before. It was huge because they had to remove hedges and they had to remove trees. Many of the stumps were blasted out of the ground. And then they had to dig long runway foundations. And then on top of that, huge machines arrived to mix concrete. Hundreds of lorries and dumper trucks, and the whole place was a mass of movement like bees in a hive.
So at that age, you probably wasn't aware of the dangers that the airmen was going to face.
Oh no, none at all. It wasn't till after the war when I started to get a bit older that I realised how much danger everyone had been in. And of course, I'd no idea then of the massive loss of life that there was going to be, even from a satellite aerodrome like this one.